Now I want to turn to Tom Farrell for his build along of the Frenchman River Model Works kit. So, Tom, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you again for having me. This evening I have part 3 of the Frenchman River Model Works industry, if we're going to refer to it as an industry. The parts 1 and 2 were the Lobster boat, and the final part here is the actual Lobster shack. And I'll show you how and where it went on my layout here. This is how the Lobster shack is delivered. It's a resin kit. There's really nothing kit about it. It comes assembled, ready to go. You just need to paint it, basically. As I said before, the art and the challenge of these resin kits is in the finishing of them. And like all things from Frenchman River, this is just superbly detailed and very high quality with minimal flashing. Every single shake you can see on the roof there that's in focus. Every shake shows off the wood grain and detail, and it's just impeccable. And this is shown about 4 times its size. There's just a tiny bit of flash that took just seconds to remove with a fine file. Otherwise, it was ready to go. Before I primed the model, I cleaned it with a dish detergent and a toothbrush. These resin models typically have a mold release on them. You don't want to paint over the mold release, or your paint could flake off or chip. I sprayed the shack with this Tamiya surface primer. It's a very light primer that does not fill in any of the detail. It's a very fine primer, and I've talked about this primer before. I recommend it for all things that you don't want to hide any detail. And you do want to prime these models. It gives you a nice non-reflective surface. It gives the actual paint something to stick to. There it is, primed, and you can see we really haven't lost any of the detail. If you look back to the roof there, you can still see all the graining and whatnot. This was the starting of the paint. I used a combination of this gel stain, a walnut, this brown, and this white. I had to play with this quite a bit to this is still a base coat here. I'm often challenged making plastic and resin look like wood, but it just takes me a while. That's why I like to work with wood. But resin's nice because it gives you all this nice detail. So there's the thing developing along. I highlighted it with a white dry brush. I did not take photos post this, but I trimmed this out with a green paint, just an acrylic paint. And you'll see in the finished model, I apologize, I was rushed and I got so engrossed in painting this thing, trying to make it look right, that I forgot to take photos. I kit bashed this, so I put in a floor and some joists. I was originally going to mount this on a mountainside, so I did go through the motions of putting this platform on a mountain, and then I decided now I better make this put it next to the Lobster boat in my harbor. So this is a shack that I created for the mountain. It's nothing to do with tonight's presentation, but I did put another shack up there on the mountain. So I had to build another platform, another floor, which is nothing more than, in this case, this is a piece of plywood that I sketched I outlined I put the shack on the piece of plywood. Then I ran a pencil around the perimeter, and then I cut it out with my saw. And these are 2x8s, same drill as before. I glued them on. I almost made the mistake of putting this floor on before putting in the acetate windows. So I just cut some raw pieces of acetate, and with canopy glue, I just, with basically a Q-tip, I put this canopy glue around the outside of the windows openings, and just laid this acetate on there. If any of the glue would move on to the acetate, you wouldn't see it, because as we discussed before, this stuff dries clear and comes from the model aircraft hobby, hence the name canopy. So I glued the floor on. You don't see this, so that even though this is sloppily done, I mean, this is on the bottom of the model. Then I put these, basically these 4x4 bases all across every other joist. I put them on. Now Jim keeps telling me that this is a it's an industry, and he kept saying this through 1 and 2. So I've called this Jim's Seafood. Fresh, 7 p.m. every Wednesday.
Oh, that's great.
And here's the final sign, a little out of focus, but I put a couple lights on there. And in a moment, you'll see the menu. This is where it's going on my layout. This is a Frenchman River fishing boat, and there's the Lobster boat behind it. So, and there's the finished model. We'll get closer and closer to this. You'll see the menu and the sophisticated customers that Jim draws at his seafood shack. So there we are. There's the Frenchman River Lobster boat, parts 1 and 2. And there's the seafood shack. Getting closer and closer. There's the menu. You'll see up close in a moment. There's the high-end clientele he draws. And there's his customer. And here's the menu for Jim. Scratch build your seafood feast. New tracks, 1 lobster, $1. A build along, 2 lobsters, $1.75. The caboose, 3 lobsters, $2.50. And of course, the high end, the rustic buff, 4 lobsters, $3.25. Little levity this evening.
I love it. I love it.
And there's his high end customer. Really a classy fellow, this guy. There's the green paint that I was talking about, the final finish there. I put up some railings and decking, and there's the model as it sits. This is the sign with a little fence here. And remember, it's fresh every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Jim's Seafood. That's all I have for you this evening, and thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Tom? Tom, thanks so much for name, and thanks so much for the menu. Fantastic modeling, and I really appreciate you doing this. I think Frenchman River is a really up and coming company. I see they're coming out with a new one of Tom York's kits pretty soon, and I've seen the photo of the model, and to me, it's something really different and unusual. So I wish them the best of luck with it.
Yeah, before I go, I want to thank Frenchman River Model Works, James and Anna Cleveland, for donating the 2 models to the build along. And as Jim said, they carry the Tom York resin kits. And as everybody knows, I consider Tom York somebody really unique within our hobby. So if you can, go on that website and check them out, FrenchRiver.com, and just amazing quality models. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom.